All right, this one's for any veteran drawing 50% for sleep apnea because you use a CPAP. There is a rule out there that would change how the VA pays for that. And half the internet is calling it the 2026 change. It isn't. It's a proposal and it has been sitting on the VA's desk since February of 2022. Nothing has been signed. Nothing takes effect tomorrow. And if you already hold that 50%, federal law says a rule change by itself cannot take it from you. I'll show you those exact words. So stay with me because there is a real reason to pay attention here. It's just not the one you've been sold. Real quick, if you're new here, welcome. If you're coming back, I appreciate you. Okay. Let's start with the rule you're under today because it's about as simple as the VA ever gets. Sleep apnea gets rated under a code called 6847. Right now, if your sleep apnea is service connected and your treatment requires a breathing machine, a CPAP, that is 50%. Hear that word, requires. Not somebody handed you one at the pharmacy. That word does a lot of work, and it's the word raters look for. And here's what matters. Today's rule never asks whether the machine works. You could be sleeping like a baby every night, and it's still 50%. That standard goes back to 1996, and the respiratory rating rules it sits in haven't been amended since 2006. 20 years. The VA is not a fan of that. And I'm not putting words in their mouth, they wrote it in the proposal themselves. Quote, the current criteria evaluate based upon treatment rather than actual impairment. That's them, not me. All right, so let's talk about what they want to put in its place and when they said it. The proposal came out February 15th, 2022 in the Federal Register, which is the government's own book of rules. Public comments closed that April, and then nothing. There is still no final rule today. The VA's own regulatory calendar now projects April of 2027, and a projection is a guess. They've moved it before. If my math's any good, that proposal has been sitting there about 4.5 years. 4.5 years, and people are still selling it to you as this year's emergency. So who is that panic actually working for? Now here's what's really in it. The new version stops asking whether you have a machine. It asks whether the treatment works, and it makes a sleep study prove it. At the top, 100%. That's when treatment doesn't work, shown by a sleep study, or you can't use the treatment because of another medical condition. Plus end organ damage. End organ damage means the apnea has gone on to damage another organ in your body. 50% is that same thing without the organ damage. Then the middle. If you use your CPAP, and a sleep study shows what they call incomplete relief, you land at 10%. And if you have no symptoms, with or without treatment, that's 0. Now catch this one. The 30% level is gone. Today there's a 30% for persistent daytime sleepiness. In the proposal, there is no 30, no middle landing spot at all. Either the treatment is failing you and you're up top, or you're down at 10 or 0. And about that phrase, you can't use the treatment. The VA narrowed that on purpose. It has to be another medical condition that physically stops you from using the machine, and a doctor has to say so. They list the examples right there in the proposal. A rash where the mask touches your face, Parkinson's, a missing limb, facial disfigurement, a skull fracture. Simply hating the mask is not on that list. I wish it was. It isn't. Okay. Now the part I need you to hear more than anything else in this video. If you are already rated for sleep apnea, this proposal does not reach back and cut your check. That is not my opinion. That is the law that built the rating schedule in the first place. Title 38, Section 1155. It says that in no event shall such a readjustment in the rating schedule cause a veteran's disability rating in effect on the effective date of the readjustment to be reduced, unless an improvement in the veteran's disability is shown to have occurred. The regulation under it, 3.951, Part A, says the same thing in plainer words. A change to the rating schedule is not grounds for reducing a rating already in effect unless medical evidence establishes the disability has actually improved. Let me put that in everyday English for you. They can rewrite the rules all they want. To lower your rating, they still have to come with medical evidence that you personally got better. Not that the paperwork changed, that you got better. And there's a second layer for those of you who've been in the system a while. Same regulation, Part B. If you've been continuously rated at or above a level for 20 years or more, they can't drop you below it at all except for fraud. 20 years and it's locked. So who does this proposal actually hit? New claims. People who have not been rated yet. If that's you, stay right here, because now the money matters. Let's do the money. Today, a veteran rated 50% on his own, no spouse and no children, gets $1,132.90 a month. That is the 2026 rate, and it is tax-free. 10%, same veteran, no dependents, is $180.42 a month. If my math's any good, that is a gap of $952.48 every month. Just over $11,400 a year. Same veteran, same machine, same diagnosis. The only thing that changed is which version of the rule was in force on the day they rated him. Okay, one more piece, and this one is for the folks who have not filed yet. A whole lot of sleep apnea gets service-connected as a secondary condition. Secondary just means a condition the VA already pays you for either caused it or made it worse. PTSD is the most common one you'll hear about. Now I want to be careful here because you'll see people online tell you that link is automatic. It is not. The research supports a connection and the VA grants these claims all the time. It also denies them all the time, and the examiner at your C&P will often write that it's less likely than not. What wins is a doctor's opinion about you. A letter saying sleep apnea is common among veterans says nothing about your body, and the board reads that as no opinion at all. The pathways a good doctor writes about are these. PTSD keeps your body stuck on high alert, and that breaks up your sleep, including your REM sleep. And PTSD and the medications that come with it often put weight on, and weight changes your airway. If one of those fits you, it has to be documented with your name on it. So where does that leave you? If you're already rated, you're not doing anything today. You're protected. And I wouldn't go file a claim for an increase just because a video scared you, because that opens the door to a new exam, and an exam is one of the few things that can actually move your rating. If you have not filed yet, here's the order I'd do it in. First, file an intent to file. That's VA Form 210966. You can also do it on va.gov or over the phone. It puts a placeholder in the system and it sets the date your back pay can be figured from. But here's the part people leave out, and it costs real money. You get 1 year, 12 months from the day the VA receives it. If your complete claim isn't in by then, that date is gone like it never happened. Sleep studies and private letters take months, so set a reminder on your phone for month 10. Second, use those 12 months. Get the sleep study. Get the Nexus letter, which is just a doctor's letter tying your condition to your service or to another condition you're already rated for. Third, file the complete claim. And let me be straight about why that helps, because the reason floating around out there is wrong. An intent to file does not freeze the rules. What it does is move your effective date earlier. A new rule can't reach back before the day it takes effect, so the earlier your date sits, the more of your claim gets judged under today's criteria. Look, I don't write these regulations, I just read them so you don't have to. At the end of the day, I'm just a guy on YouTube with a copy of the reg. Everything I said is in the pinned comment. The proposal from February 15, 2022, the rating code you're under today, the protection law, the rate tables. Go pull them up and check me yourself. That's the whole point of this channel. The rules might change one day. The rating you hold today is yours. That's it for this one. Take care of yourself out there.